Hello, warriors. I have been out of YouTube for a while, and that's because of several things. The first thing is that, as you can see, I have huge myopia, and I'm super self-conscious about my glasses. And I was waiting for my I have like an eye infection, and it won't get better, and I was waiting for it to get better, but it's just taking a long time. So I thought I'd just assume it and make a video with glasses. Yay! First step. But that's not what this video is about. This video is about grieving the abusive parent, spouse, friend, whatever. What to do when you're invited to a narcissistically abusive person's funeral, for example. That happened to me recently because my grandmother died. And my grandmother wasn't even very abusive. She wasn't abusive, but she was very enabler of my parents' behavior, and especially my mother's, because she was my mother's mother. So she was a great enabler. And when I got the email from my brother, I thought, oh, I should just go to the funeral. But then I stopped myself, and I had prepped myself for moments like these. And I always thought that I would not go to the funeral because it doesn't solve anything. And you're just going to get more stressed. You are going to be showered with a shit show of your abusive family, if that's your case. Or, all the people surrounding that person that have nothing to do with your grief, they have nothing to do with you. Because if you're grieving, if an abuser dies or an enabler dies in this case, it's really a distinct situation from when quote-unquote normal, or let's say neurotypical, to be more technical, person dies. Because if a neurotypical person dies, then you're in a natural, healthy circle where you can celebrate the life of that person together and mourn together. And that will be like establishing an interesting communion. But if an abusive person dies, or a person from an abusive circle, which was my case, then your emotions and the things that you're feeling are never going to be validated, and you're going to end up having to care for other people, or and shove your emotions because of all the emotional shit show, like I said, that is going on. And that's exactly what I thought was going to go on in my grandmother's funeral. Like, people screaming, people blaming me for not being there all this time, and I didn't want any of that. So what can you do when this person dies? Because, like it or not, if you were close to an abusive person or an enabler, you have to grieve that person. It's, I'm not going to say stupid, but it's a bad decision not to grieve that person. Because if you shove your emotions and your feelings down, then most likely than not, they're going to come up, maybe years later, in a form that is ugly. Because whatever stays rotten inside you is going to come up in a really bad form. That's like the basis of psychology, right? If you go in a state of denial, then it's going to manifest in other ugly ways for you. Sometimes psychosomatic, sometimes in the way of self-medication, etc. You name it. So what I did was I love hiking, and I live in Belgium, where the countryside is actually really beautiful. So I first of all, I wrote a letter to my grandmother explaining. Thanking her for whatever she did to me that was not so bad. Like, the good moments that we spent. And also telling her that I wasn't going to be at her funeral, and explaining why. And actually, in that way, I managed to process my anger. And some things that I can all remember that I wrote in the letter. Then I closed the letter. I didn't have a picture of us together, but I made a drawing, a really bad one, of us together. One when I was little, and she was holding my hand, and that for me was a good moment that we spent together when she used to take care of me when I was little. And also, I took a song that I know that she liked. So I did my hike, I read her the letter, and I buried her in a nice place in the middle of countryside. So the music playing and stuff. So I did my own funeral at the same time where she was being buried in my hometown, which is Lisbon, Portugal. For me, this made me feel really good. So better than if I had gone to the funeral. So processing your feelings in this way, maybe I will have more feelings to process, I don't know. But bottom line is, when such a person dies and you're not in contact with your family, or you don't want to go to the funeral for some reason, make your own grieving process, make your own ceremony. Writing really helps, but talking, if you're a talking person, you don't like to write, that's good as well, you know. And maybe dedicate a day to this person, even if this person wronged you and was bad for you. It's good opportunity to express your feelings, because if you come from an abusive environment, or even an abusive relationship, love relationship, it's a never-ending process of getting rid of all the bad things and all the things that you repressed, and all the hurt and all the guilt and all the rage and everything that's dragging you down. So that's my 2 cents on this subject. I will be posting more often, with or without glasses, I have to assume it. And I wish you happy healings in the meantime. Bye.